This conference will now be recorded.
Recording.
All right, the Town Cottage Grove Plan Commission will hold a public meeting on Wednesday, July 24th, 2024 at 7 PM at the Town Hall at 4058 County Road N. You can also join the meeting by GoToMeeting. The meeting was posted at the Town Hall and on the website. We have a quorum present. I'll call the meeting to order, and you have the minutes of our June 26th meeting in your packet.
I have move approval of the minutes as presented.
Motion by Anders, is there a second? Second by Mark? Jerry. Any discussion on the motion to approve the minutes?
I don't think Gary was here, was he? Okay.
Nope.
No, he wasn't.
I guess he can still
I got a
second.
second.
So Mark,
If it doesn't
did
include him,
second.
second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstentions. Jerry's an abstention. Next item is public concerns. Public's opportunity to speak to the Plan Commission about any subject that is not a specific agenda item. No one's online, no one's here. Moving on to discuss and consider adoption of resolution PC 2024-7-24, recommending approval of the Swallowing Business Park 4-lot preliminary plat. You're on.
It is. I hope everything is finally everything you need, we hope. I see your engineers here tonight. Nick?
Yep.
I'm charging computers away in the corner.
Oh.
If there's any questions, I'll try to answer them. Any concerns?
One question that came up on the half bulb
Yeah,
on North Star, could it be moved further to the east into the outlet?
well, you're getting into the water retention area. That is the, one of the ponds right there.
Yeah,
It borders that lot. So no, I don't think it can go.
okay. Understood?
Yeah, there isn't any other way around it. See, the thought is that that should be a full bulb. It should dip further into that lot, but then you're gonna make that lot even smaller.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So that's my question. It could come further to the east. Well, if it's gonna dip into the retention pond,
Yeah,
that's a problem.
you can look at, but there's not much room there. Very
Okay.
little room.
Well, then,
Now, would that affect that retention pond? You're talking about, you're not much land there. It shouldn't probably affect that very much.
well,
It's not really taking a big portion of it, just taking a little bit of it. I'm not sure. That's an engineering question, I think.
the other thought was, we'll move it out to the end. Well, that's not gonna do you any good either.
No,
No, that's,
We can't do that either.
yeah, big culvert there,
yeah,
huge.
but there is a retention pond there. At the very end, it's a great big hill. It's a bunch of dirt that was piled there. So
Yeah,
that could happen because there's nothing, no retention pond there.
Do you own the land?
Yeah,
It's a possibility.
to go where?
Go east with it further past the retention pond, up to where,
Out in here.
is that a possibility or is that not something that's a good idea? And then you could have the full cul-de-sac.
mhm.
And lot 4 would be impacted by the hot half bulb.
I mean, it gets pretty low down there. There could be some big time drainage issues there when you put a road in. That's
Yeah.
getting really down in there. My side's okay, but Larry's side, you know,
Mhm.
It's even lower there.
yes, it's even
You
lower
can
on that
see
side.
that black dirt.
Yeah, good call.
Good.
Thank you.
Questions?
Over here.
Oh, past.
Yeah, it would have to be way over in here.
on July 18th, did you see that note from Mark Ruffles?
Yes, probably.
There's an acre.
His, one of his comment was, with the final plat to compensate for the removal of trees, advised to be retained by the town comprehensive plan, the final plat shall be accompanied by restrictions that require with the development of lots 1 through 4, tree planting above normal town ordinance requirements. You saw that?
Yes, yeah. Is that something I gotta go with the owners of each lot and have them plant some trees or what? Probably.
Yeah.
Most of them are, some are already planting that.
Yeah.
Put a few trees in. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think we would want that note in
Yeah.
the, with the final plat.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, sure.
We have,
I like what I read, but it's based upon what I've seen in the past. Are the property owners going to be planting trees this big?
no, and in our ordinance, we have some diameters of what the trunk has to be, I believe.
In the land division ordinance?
Yeah.
Well, Robert's asking it to be above the normal town ordinance requirements.
Yeah.
So part of it is maybe because there's a bunch of trees wiped out when you started this project.
Right.
that-
We saved all the good trees out of the woods, and I think there's 3 of them.
There weren't many.
There was just, and Don Struckmeyer has, he took all the trees that were salvageable. That's all it was. The rest of it was boxed out or dead.
Yeah.
My other woods is fantastic. We harvested, that's healthy. That was not a healthy woods at all. But down here, this is not too bad. There's some nice, on that borderline, there's some nice trees there. Few of them.
So your drainage easements are on lot 3. So it's 15 feet off the lot line either way.
On lot 3?
Yeah, you got them all the way around the lot.
Oh, okay.
Is that correct?
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure.
It's a 30-foot drainage easement, so you have 15 feet each side of the lot line.
Yeah.
So then in lot 2, there's a 20-foot drainage easement that runs through that lot. Right.
North and south.
Yes,
Which lot 2?
It's like-
The original one or the new one?
the new one
Oh,
should be right, it's right off the, up here. No, right here. 20-foot drainage easement right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got the easement running through there. I don't understand it because where are they gonna, that was an area they're gonna build because they've got their septic system right to the left.
okay, but that lot 2 is 9 acres. That's all part of it. That's a whole great big lot. Yeah.
9.7.
We plan on putting the sewer on the south end on there because it should be a conventional septic system down there.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping to do. To relieve that.
Right, so what area of that is buildable of that 9 acres?
I think all of it, I think, isn't it? No, isn't it?
No. That's to my knowledge, no, it wasn't. And that's why the stuff more towards the west was buildable. And that's why I question why you put the drainage easement to further to the west. Because that's an area you obviously can't plop a building there.
No, it's not big enough. No.
No, not unless you're gonna move the drainage easement.
Yeah. That's something maybe your engineer can address, because I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure how big this lot number 2 is. If we take that, if we just separate that when we put our sewer down here, if we can get a sewer on the south end. Is that lot big enough to build in? With a 1 acre lot?
No, I,
Hopefully it is. We'll put a sewer for the other lots down here.
so did Ryan drew this up for Barron?
This came from.
Barron drew this.
The majority of lot 2 was flagged last time by the county because it wouldn't perk. Right?
Oh, that's the big lot 2.
Yeah.
Yes, the big
Yeah.
lot 2.
So what we're seeing on lot 2 here now, a lot of this doesn't perk, and that's why the septic is
You brought it up.
over. It's
Make it perk, yeah,
So.
Yeah.
Doesn't
They combine it
necessarily
with a
mean
big
it's not a
lot.
buildable lot.
yeah.
They just got a pump. If they want a conventional system, they got a pump way the hell over there.
Well, that goes back to the tanks.
Yes.
Okay.
So if they put a tank in, they just got a pump.
Okay.
It's no different than a house having a tank and you're pumping out to your drain field.
So were tanks permissible? We talked about holding tanks.
That was just strictly holding
Yeah,
tanks
holding.
without a drain.
But a regular tank is okay even though it may push out.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that was one of the
I have
concerns.
those.
Is it's just-
That's the way mine is at home.
So we have here tanks down there and we pump it up the hill.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm talking about, was the soil suitable enough to hold the tank or would it push up?
Yeah, there was questions about that.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with that.
The other thing is, can you run a line from that tank through the drainage easement? Can you run it under the easement or something, or? is it
Well, the one
prob-
end of the easement is flat. The easement starts in a ways. The very southern end of that drainage ditch is basically ground level.
I know, but I mean, are there restrictions about crossing it? That's all. I'm wondering.
Parallel, I thought you'd be okay. Crossing 90? I don't know.
You'd have to cross it to get to that
Yeah.
septic tank, though.
Yeah, that's
Septic
what you're going to
field.
go down further.
Yeah, you can typically cross easements for drainage easements like that. Typically, the drainage easements above ground and depends on the stipulation, but yeah, underground wide, you could pipe it, but there's, for some reason, if you have to do a storm pipe underneath there in that drainage easement, then whoever owns it would have to make modifications to their pipe if it's affecting your drainage easement. But just the pipe, yeah, to that, the field itself, a pipe going through that drainage easement should be.
It's okay.
And I have a question. Still in lot 2 yet. You have the drainage easement at the east end of lot 1. Okay, is there, and it looks as though there's a drainage easement on the west end of lot 1, and there's also a drainage on the south side of lot 1. Is there a reason to have 2 south traveling drainage easements, one in the middle of the cul-de-sac and one in the beginning of the cul-de-sac? Why couldn't either one be made larger to accommodate the water or just eliminate one of them?
Having the drainage easements all around, like on the lot lines like that, gets everybody to get the water to flow out to the street, not going to the next lot.
So when these guys buy this lot, engineer it, they're gonna have to put in some drainage ditches to their regular ditch.
I guess more of a
If that's-
swale.
If that's what you're,
That's part of the engineering of engineering a lot once you buy it.
Why doesn't that, the one with the 90-degree bends in it, why doesn't that one just go straight south?
Because they cut out of that lot to make room for the septic.
yeah, they're trying to keep the
But-
water off it, so.
Well, the person's,
So it follows the lot line.
well, the septic can stay where it's at, okay? For the proposed conventional drain field. The piping's gonna be going underground. You're gonna be traveling what's the difference of having water on 2 sides of your drain field versus the long side and the short side? Why not just have the drain water on the short side going straight? Rather than exposing, I see what Tom's saying about exposing your drain field to the drainage water. But right now, that drain field's exposed on two sides versus if it would just come straight south and not, and only partially involve just the short side of that drain field. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say, Nick?
Not exactly. So are you saying between lot 1 and 2 where it takes that 90
You know,
degree bend
right, it makes the
around?
Z type bend. Here, I can, let's get it up in the map here.
I thought that's where you're talking about.
Okay, correct. It's- I don't know who to block. Anyways, it comes down here, exposes the long side and the short side of this drain field potentially here.
Yep.
Why not just have it come straight down, whereas you're only exposing the short side of the drain field to the water?
Because it's on that shared lot line, so when the construction of lot 1 is constructed, if anything goes towards that drain field, it goes towards the easement of it and doesn't have to cross over that private property of the drain field to make its
But
way.
this is all
to-
private property here going across it this way.
So let's say someone decides to build something right here. And then with this water flowing, you don't want it to flow across this other private property to make it to this drainage easement, to make its way up. You want it to come into the shared lot line in this easement and make its way eventually. It depends on how this is configured or constructed in the future. But that's the reason why it follows the lot line instead of coming straight down.
So that lot 1 catches all of its own water.
Yes, and it's in that shared easement instead of crossing over lot 2's drainage field to get to that easement.
You got enough fall in there to allow for all that too, as drawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because the typical ditches, we like to see a minimum of 1%. So every 100 feet, 1 foot of vertical change. It can be less than that, but just with construction wise and grading and equipment that's used, 1% reduces the likelihood of water pooling. Where you get less than that, we've seen more water pooling, depends on the contractor, the soil, and the time to construct those ditches. Did that answer your question, Steve, though, or not?
Yeah. Yes and no. Why couldn't you just create a short swale in between those two drain fields then, just to get it out of there?
Yeah, the biggest is just not having water from lot 1 going on lot 2 unless it's in the shared easement. Was why this easement was associated between lots 1 and 2, for that drainage easement. So it doesn't matter if something's being built in this vicinity, because it's gonna hit the shortest way, but it's just purely if something was built back here and water's going both directions, then it's catching in that easement before. On another
So
person's property.
And then do I read it correctly, halfway back on the cul-de-sac, the water is going to be flowing from south to north?
Yes, yeah. Water is flowing to the north, how they have the end plan designed to get to their stormwater pond. Yeah, the outlot, which has in that outlot, that stormwater pond. Stormwater.
Okay. So water is going to be coming off of the road at the beginning of that cul-de-sac. We're talking about the Z-shaped drainage. To come down, go across, come down, go to the east, come back north, back up to the cul-de-sac again.
So a drop here, yeah, would make its way eventually to this area where there is a culvert. It would cross this culvert to get to the north side and make its way.
There's a culvert prior to the bulb.
Yes, that's correct. There's one they have a culvert here and then another culvert in this vicinity as well.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Nick, do you have anything more to tell us?
It was discussed in the beginning where I did mention the cul-de-sac. The cul-de-sac, I shouldn't say, I believe we were talking about the cul-de-sac on North Star Road,
Yeah,
the east-west segment. It is difficult to push it to the end, but also it's one of those things that we always look at future growth, and not going all the way to the end is potentially could hinder future growth, but also I mentioned it could be discussed and evaluate a little bit more in detail if or whenever on the north side of North Star Road, the east-west segment is developed, that you could look at extending that roadway further to the east, and then also again up North Star Road where it goes north and south segment. North Star Road with that, that bend makes it difficult describing what it is. So
Right
There'd be a
there.
lot of work to be done there in that corner right there.
it definitely would.
Extensive work.
Yep, and I'm just saying, which is fine, it's just, if this ever gets developed or discussed, if it's 1 year, 10, 50 years, it should definitely be looking at, all right, instead of this just staying where it is, you should be looking at extending it all the way to the end of this parcel, for maybe further to the north once more development for wherever the town may envision it wants to be in 50 or 100 years. So you're not saying, hey, we're gonna stop development all in this area all the way up to this North Star Road situation. But it could depend on how this is developed as well, for the roadways intertwined there if you want to
We've
take a
already done
different
a
route.
preliminary on that design work.
Yep.
And I think his lots are either farther to the west than ours are, because that land is so low in there.
It does get low right
Yeah,
around that corner and
yes.
then gets high.
Yes,
Once you go more to the north, it gets back up for the elevations.
Yeah.
That's why I said, once you get further to the north, there is potential for development if the town wants to zone it appropriately and so forth, and sees that in their future planning.
the other problem is cost. I'm gonna lose a little bit of this land, but what's it gonna cost to put that road in is probably more than what I'll lose. It's a lot. It's a lot.
That's not the end of the world from my perspective. I was just informing the committee so they're well aware of it
Right.
from that perspective.
Nick, you didn't do a lot of these, this drawing engineering on it?
No, it was the developer's engineer, and we just review it on behalf of the town. To look at the town's best interests, future growth, and anything that wouldn't meet the town standards.
So thinking just again about lot 4, moving that south, even that south lot line, moving it further south.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's possible.
That gets into that drainage.
Is that drainage already in place?
Yeah.
Oh, well then forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all this rain, it's never been wet, but I mean, it could.
Everything's wet now.
Yeah.
Because that's a real shame, just lot 4.
And we could have them look at that. I'm not opposed to have them look just real quick to see what, of course, then you gotta do a soils analysis
Yeah.
and a lot of work involved.
Where do you want to stop?
Yeah.
I just think that
Yeah.
there should be, that bulb should be pretty close to
Yeah.
being completed.
Yeah.
And it's got to be 90 feet. And then understand that you're using township road and then you donated some road
Yeah,
to
yeah.
complete.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I donated some
Yeah.
land.
So, I'm thinking that comments about down the pike. I want to see if I can say this correctly. If we were to, because I don't know the ground, but looking at the map, I think I can tell. If we were to cut off that sharp bend on North Star, up at the top there, say from the start of your cul-de-sac, make that a bend to the extent to the further up North Star, would that solve a lot of those problems? Make it a gradual instead of a sharp bend?
You're saying
going arcing this way.
Yeah, Arcus roadway instead of going so sharp.
Rather than a 90
Come
degree
at an
corner.
angle there.
Yeah,
We could, this is just owned, not by,
I know, yeah,
Yeah,
so it could be discussed in the future. Yeah,
but that could be the start of it where the cul-de-sac is and then,
right. Yeah. It's something that could be looked at.
So in our plan that we had, with Larry, be a lot more common sense to, once that's developed to the north, go to the north of that field, then go across the creek there.
Yeah.
Because the other land's all lowland here, right to the east of the creek, really low.
Yeah,
But you get highland on the other end. Once the road is up there, you could just cross over
Mhm.
in that area. Of course, that whole field area is just low all the way around that creek.
Yeah.
The whole thing
Mhm.
is low.
And another question, Nick, you had the two sheets here, one on June 3rd and one on July 23rd.
yep,
Like the plat documents, and you've taken out some of the bullet points.
that's correct. They sent me a revised set of plans and I did another review. I removed the items that were addressed from that one, and the July 23rd one I just sent recently, they also sent some revised plans this morning where the plat documents, that bullet, they completed this morning. For sheet C4 and C5 comments, that first bullet for the thickness, they completed that one. The next one, I left that up for a board discussion, decision. It's something to be aware of. You have to work with the county on that. There is some state regulations with it, but the county does have jurisdiction on the speed limit. So just for the site distance, when I say site distance, if you want to scroll down to Pandela, if I'm thinking it correctly, all the way where it meets North Star. So where this intersects right here, site distance is how far can a vehicle see safely? There is a little bit of null here to make it difficult for the visibility to the south. So that's where I talked about the site distance per the standard procedure would be recommended to reduce that down to 30 miles per hour, just because how far they can see for safety. Obviously, we have a 90-degree bend further on North Star, so vehicles might not be going that fast, but just something to be aware of. It's a dead end road, so there shouldn't be a lot of traffic, but just something that we had them check into, because when I was out there, I drove it, I noticed the site distance might be a concern. For sheet C-6 and C-9, they completed the first one. Instead of going further to the north off of North Star Road, the east-west segment, they are going to be redesigning North Star Road a little bit, where they had an easement right here, where it didn't go to a water of the state, which would be the,
Little Door Creek.
Little Door Creek, I was way off. Little Door Creek, that they instead redesigned North Star Road, where they're going to be putting a little bit more fill in, which is still adequate, still met the road design and met the ditch, required some minimum 1% to not have to go back and get that easement. So they didn't go to the water of the state, but they redesigned it to make it where they didn't need additional culvert across. So they just have the one culvert right where North Star turns at a 90-degree bend. There was existing culvert there. They're replacing that culvert. Bullet point number 2, they completed. Bullet point number 3 is what we just talked about for the cul-de-sac. And then bullet point number 4, this one I left up for more of a board discussion, where the classification of the roadway itself for North Star Road is maybe most, or some of you remember, the town changed their classification of roadways and what they want to see for future growth. Biggest was with the size of ditches in some locations, minimum at 70-foot right of way, which Dwayne has given his portion, his half of the roadway of at least 35 feet to get half of that 70 feet. If there's any development further to the north, you would have to request that additional right of way to get the full 70. However, there is one classification in there to classify this as a neighborhood connector street, which would be exactly the same as you see it. However, you'd be adding 5-foot bike lanes in just a small area. I didn't think it as potentially a big deal because the rest of North Star doesn't have bike lanes and it would just be an island by itself. But I just wanted to point you out to that, point the committee out to that.
Questions, comments?
I'll put in bike lanes.
I don't mind having the 70-foot, but I don't think I want a bike lane.
No, I didn't think that's a. To run bikes through,
Not connecting to anything.
Yeah.
in the future.
Just any traffic that's potentially going to be back there isn't.
It's a business part.
Mhm.
I guess my only one thing that having that 20-foot drainage easement, just to, if I'm buying that piece of property and I see that, and I want to build part of my building there. So is there anything else that can be done as far as specifying that 20-foot drainage easement?
You're talking right in lot 2, right in the center of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They would have to look at definitely redesign because there would be no buildings allowed on that.
Correct.
Yeah, so it does separate and isolate that lot.
Is there any special reason why I know they drilled wells here, but I don't know where the groundwater level is there. Is there any reason around that or why they decided to put that there?
Originally, it was there because how they had the lots separated, the amount of lots they had before. It was on a lot line before, where originally this plat had, I don't know if it was 7, 8, or 10.
No.
Originally 10 lots within the plat. However, once it was submitted, then the county and the perf test came back saying that's not acceptable, the ground's too wet. You only can get drainage fields in certain locations. So then that got combined into one big lot. And that was already that easement. It's not difficult to remove that easement. They do already have their drainage there in the ditch there, but they could look at re-ditching that to shift it over further to the west.
To me, it looks like it's coming off the backside of the bulb or the backside of the cul-de-sac. Is that going to be curb and gutter or not? Is it just ditched?
That'll just be a ditch, that bulb portion. Yeah, you'll have asphalt and then
4-foot shoulder.
2-foot gravel shoulder, I think it was.
Well, it can just spill out into lot 2. Because lot 2 is its boundary goes into the outlot. That makes sense.
Why wouldn't we want to put curb and gutter in there? Just to direct the water around the cul-de-sac into the north, that northern area.
You could, but how they have it designed works right now because that water sheet flows off that bulb and then there's 2 ditches that'll eventually make it its way it's around. So anything that sheet flows off of that bulb to the south, it'll make its way to the culvert that's just right before the bulb starts and cross underneath. So how they have it designed has worked, or not has, it will work, how it's shown.
Because they got that.
Because yeah, there's a ditch all the way around that bulb. So wherever sheet flows off, that ditch will make it to the appropriate culvert or where the culvert discharges and continue making its way to the outlet.
So is that drainage easement just a residual from an old lot line? Does it even need to be?
That's what I was looking at a little bit more right now when he brought that up more. Because it does have water sheet flowing across, but really you could potentially eliminate that.
Yeah, so they're going to the north. And then they actually have some other stuff here going to the north. I thought, why don't you just go to the south with it?
Yeah, and then once you have that, because then your water, whoever builds on that lot in that area, they would then have to figure out how to get their water. If they're gonna raise their building up higher, that's perfectly fine. They would have to have a drainage plan submitted and then we would review it on behalf of the town. But looking at it, it's potentially, yeah, that drainage just could be eliminated potentially. that one that's in the dead center of lot 2.
You say that small lot 2 is not buildable right now?
No.
No, he's not saying that.
Oh, okay,
I'm
It's
just
just that
saying-
it's small, so you'd be
Building
limited on
Oh,
all
I see,
sides
yes.
by,
yes,
setbacks
yes,
to the lot lines and then the easement.
yes.
Yeah, you're hindering, instead of one big building, you're breaking up your buildings,
Yeah.
and then you're crossing across that drainage easement
Yeah.
where Troy made a good perspective, and then same with Kim, that yes, if that potentially could be
Yeah.
eliminated, because that was a residual, as I recall, a residual from the old plat, because it was on a lot line there.
Unless they're gonna do a lot of grading, wouldn't it flow east from that corner?
Yeah.
As it is right now, it looks like it's gonna flow east, where you have the 868 and the, what is that?
All the way across and drops.
Yeah.
It will, and there's nothing wrong where it'll slowly flow to the east and make its way to that stormwater management pond still.
Yeah, I'm saying right here, instead of going up this way, looks like it's gonna go right over this way. If you don't do anything,
Mhm.
you can,
Yeah, it definitely will.
right that way.
Yep, and it'll still make its way in that stormwater pond and still have the, meet the requirements of that for a TSS and stormwater management perspective.
Even like the arrow, once you pan upward, I should say move the drawing upward, Kim. There's an arrow moving there, right there, moving the water north. Well, that should come south.
Go east, should go east.
Go east.
East.
Flow that way.
I'll have a conversation with Dwayne's engineers on potentially eliminating that drainage easement. The one that's in the dead center there. Then that arrow would go away, then everything would just keep flowing to the east, as Dave mentioned.
So, reason why to leave it in?
No, I don't see any reason.
It would make it more sellable if it was.
I don't think so too, to
Right,
get that 20 foot.
because once that's in, it's in. You can't,
Yeah,
so take this out. So take this piece out right here.
Yep.
And then it's gonna just simply flow all the way down through here.
That arrow will change directions and then come back down to how one, somewhere in there.
And then I don't know where, I'm assuming the water will go out from anything at the cul-de-sac. Will
Will
have to
still go to the north
north and then
and then
around.
around.
yeah.
So that comes out.
It's gonna be the owner's responsibility to deal with their water. If anything, it's gonna go this way.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, unless they, it depends on how.
What they want to do to grade. So grading is gonna be huge. Yeah, so it's gonna be up to them. I just don't see why to leave that 20 foot easement in there. I'd just
Oh, absolutely.
help Dwayne out with that.
Right now it is a ditch. It
Yeah,
is a ditch, that won't.
but
But yeah, because they could take that out.
Yeah, but with whoever decides to develop there in the future, you could leave it how it sits, Dwayne, and then they could reconfigure.
Yeah.
As long as it gets appropriately to that stormwater.
did the county has to have it in, or is it just a residual?
I don't know.
I'd get rid of it.
Do you have any other comments, Nick?
No, I addressed everything in my letter for everything else. Board review letter. No other comments from my end.
Okay,
Any other questions for me? For anyone out there?
are we okay with having the North Star Road at 70 feet, but not having a 5-foot bike lane.
Yes.
Any other questions from the board or someone making a motion?
We've already talked about Mark's stuff, recommendations on the trees.
Yeah, earlier.
Yeah. Are all the restrictions on the final plan? There was some further lot 4.
Right. Lot 4 remains unbuildable until we get North Star Road done.
I know it's 15 and 15.
15, 21.
Is there more questions or is there a motion coming?
Does he have input?
No, I have nothing to do with this.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Next item.
Was the consensus that they were gonna try and eliminate the 20-foot drainage easement in the bulb of the cul-de-sac by lot 2?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
and change,
In the final plat.
correct.
and it'd be that arrow on the backside of his land. That should be reversed. I don't know if that means anything, but
Yeah, that flow arrow, it would be, if I'm looking at the right one.
Yeah.
In that easement, they would just remove that. So when.
well, yeah, that's fine, but then if you look at the leg to the south,
Mhm.
that arrow goes north. It should go south,
That one.
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter, I guess. does it?
Well,
Well, it's gonna-
the way the land
That one there.
configures right now, it's gonna go to the north, but they have to change the
This
grading.
arrow here.
That arrow here
Yeah.
should go to the south so that the water can then follow
Yeah.
to the east.
We have to change the grading to do it.
Does it that much higher
There's a,
or lower?
It's all sloping that way.
That is a high point there.
Yeah, but it's a
Well-
ditch, right? So it's supposed to be carrying water, not letting it go with a natural slope, right?
Yeah.
It's graded as a ditch now to take it to the north and not let it go to the east.
Yep, right now it is going to north, but typically those drainage arrows are shown when there's a drainage easement, so I figured it would just be eliminated. We could keep it.
The one on the east side of the plat, or the east side of lot 2 you're talking about?
Kim's circling it there. That's the one I was referring to.
that one, yep.
Yeah.
So just eliminate it.
Gotcha, I see, I was looking at the other one.
No.
That one,
Should
What
flow
about the
south.
one further to the east? Kim, if you were to your right, that one. Looking at the maps here, if everything across the top of lot 2 is going west to east, it's gonna run into the outlot 1.
Right.
Okay, with the exception that halfway down outlot 1, the elevation's higher than it is at the north end of outlot 1. It's at 866. Everything else is 864. And then once you get past that midpoint of the outlot 1 elevation, it starts dropping down a little bit. So why would you have the water go all the way up to come down instead of going just directly east? Because it's high here So the water's gonna flow down to this point, stop, and from here, it's gonna flow down again, because at least according to the map, it's high here in the center.
866.
This is 864. I'm sorry, yeah, 866 down here, the
Here.
next one. So it's gonna flow down to here. And because it's higher,
Gonna go down here.
but here it's lower. So why bring this stuff up? Why not just bring it straight east? Instead of having to travel all the way back up and then come back down.
Where's the actual pond?
So up here is
This whole
866,
thing.
there's no water standing, it's dry. I mow it. As soon as you
I
get back-
believe it. you
Then
know.
you get, then the water stands, that's where the water is. Yeah. Every day there's water down there, same area.
But why wouldn't you just let the south end of lot 2 just flow directly east into the outlot? Would be the southeast corner of lot 2.
Instead of having the arrows,
Huh?
instead of having the arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that drainage easement ends, see it right here at this lower corner. Well, you can-
Nick, do you understand what we're saying there about the arrows
Yeah, some of those arrows are
and the outlot?
labeled incorrectly, looking at it. I see that southeast corner, there is a drainage ditch all the way in the far southeast corner. But yeah, that one that was by 2 linear feet, 264, that arrow is incorrect. But yeah, that water is gonna be sheet flowing to the east and making its way to the pond.
As opposed to going traveling north.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those arrows are just incorrect, yeah.
Okay, I guess, I mean, I believe that's probably the correct thing to do. I just think we just need to remove the arrows just to prevent somebody who's not familiar with this from thinking,
On the final plat that you got.
yeah.
Yeah, those are definitely labeled incorrectly though.
Anything else?
So aren't these all designed for the 100-year rain? The county talks about, isn't that it? They're kind of designed that way.
Supposed to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why this down here, although it's dry, it'll take a huge rain someday.
Well, like the ditches and everything and the waterways, yeah, but I don't, these easement drainages is, I'm assuming they are, but I've never, I mean, are those?
Yeah, typically, once it gets into the the ditches themselves and the culvert sizes, like culverts particularly, you can't design it for 100-year. Would be some massive pipes.
Yeah.
So you're always gonna look at it, a culvert, yes, it'll work, and then it's either gonna fill up the ditch around it and then eventually overtop and make its way. So this bulb area, if it fills up so much, it will eventually sheet flow. It's just during a massive rainstorm event. But typical culverts, you're looking at a 25-year, you could say. And that depends on, gets into the nitty gritty of what's your intensity and how much rainfall, because your definition of 25 is like, all right, I'm gonna just throw an example, not being correct. Yes, it's 1 inch, but they're thinking 1 inch over 24 hours. Well, now if you get 1 inch in 30 minutes,
Right.
it's very intense, but yet it was classified as that rain event. So things are coming down a lot more intense, just like our most recent rainfall event that 2 weeks ago, it was, a bunch came down in a short time period, but yeah, the amount wasn't a lot, but it was just all at one time. And that made it very difficult to catch and move everything appropriately. But for the pond's perspective, the very end, the pond is meant to withhold a 100-year event. And then slowly discharge it out at a gradual rate.
Ryan said this one doesn't discharge, or does it have an overflow?
It's got overflow.
Does.
Yeah, but this also is incorrect down here in northeast corner, it said 864, it's higher than that. Because I mow that with a lawnmower. That's dry. And then it says 864, that's where the water starts. And it goes all the way down until it says 866 again. And the water goes all the way up to the west and around the bend on that big waterway. It's been this since day one. It doesn't go away.
And then when this is gonna be paved, this half of it, correct?
Nothing can be done with lot 4 until this is done.
Okay,
That's,
right, I saw the correct note on. Now, does it have to be a fully improved road or, I mean, does it have to be paved or can it be a gravel road?
will have to be paid.
They're just waiting for the roll test. The final approval and the roll test. Then they'll pave it.
On the,
He was referring to
East
what's
or North Star.
north of
Talking about the
lot
one-
4.
no, he's talking about North
Lot
Star.
4.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Now, because we talked about, I think it was Troy or somebody, talked instead of doing the sharp 90 at the far northeast corner, doing the gradual curve, which,
Dave would mention
That's
that.
me.
Yeah.
okay. Which may go ahead and negate the need for this. If he puts the road in, can this bulb be just gravel for the time being until we make a determination what we're gonna do here? Why?
Snow plow.
I can plow gravel roads.
I don't, the town road standards, that's just base, isn't it? I didn't think that even meant you had to blacktop it. I mean, it's just,
When I was a kid, that road girl. I mean, for the kind of traffic, especially seeing it might not even exist, you know, if we decide to, you know,
If
change the
and when
direction.
that happens, then this would come out, we'd probably dedicate it back to lot 4.
And then they'd have to pay to have all the blacktop removed and then improved for lot use kind of thing. So
You
my,
want to pave it because of the frost time of the year. When
Yeah,
frost is coming out, you're gonna have stuck traffic back there.
all right. How do probably 40 plus other states get by with gravel roads? You know, that have winter.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
I'm not talking, the main straight travel portion, I agree, you know. But again, we've got potentially one lot back here. It's not like there's gonna be a huge amount of traffic compared to everything over here. I'm just throwing it out.
And that goes back to bringing it out, putting a big cul-de-sac with gravel, like you were talking about. Is that what you're referring to, going past?
No, I just the half a bulb right here, just making that half a bulb,
Okay.
you know, have the road leading up to it, but just the half bulb not be made to be paved, considering that, which I like a lot better, that gradual curve heading north back there.
Take advantage of the high ground.
But we don't know when that'll happen.
Too bad. I mean, it's just, I don't know that we have to have a date or whatever.
I don't know
So
how
it's
you're
around
gonna
trucks.
even know when
Gravel, then it
North
is.
Star being approved to town road standards is gonna happen, because you don't have the full right of way on the north side of the road. And
Right.
I talked to Larry a couple weeks ago, and I asked him, you know, if you are thinking about developing or selling for development anytime soon, the plan should be changed to make more of your property there commercial. And he said he doesn't have any plans. He told me not to do anything about it now.
Yes, that's,
So that's your biggest problem, is that until you have that other full 35 feet on the other side of the road, I don't know how you can improve that road. And that means that lot 4 is waiting.
I thought you said you donated land, extra land, and that you're using the township easement, so it doesn't affect Larry? Or did I hear?
But the township easement is not 35 feet. That side of the road isn't 35 feet.
Okay.
It's probably
North
30.
side is only 24.75. What he's making his portion 35 feet.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And would that make up the road? That entire,
It needs to be 70.
it needs to be 70.
Road right away needs to be 70.
Yeah.
I guess my mindset, and obviously can decide how you want, is they would get the full roadway constructed up to town standards, the road would, but the right of way width, as Kim mentioned, would not be
You have
town
to
standards.
wait until that development.
Yeah, but where he would still be able to get the roadway constructed, but Kim does have a great point where the road right of way width wouldn't be, and that would be at a later time whenever A, he's willing to maybe just donate it to the town, or B, when that's being developed, it would be a requirement that he gets that portion of the land. And if you, go ahead.
So can you still build enough road if you only have 24 feet on that
Oh, sure.
side?
Yeah, and I required, or not required, or yeah, I did, I should say, temporary easements to get the appropriate grading and easements on that north-hand side for them to grade it properly and properly construct that roadway. And then those would go away once that road is being built. So it can be built at this time.
Okay.
It does get a little tight on that side, but it's not ordinary, but yet it is beneficial once that time comes to get that additional right away on the town's best interest. I don't know, as Kim mentioned, and the unknown of when you may get it unless Larry's willing to just be generous and give it now. Otherwise, it'll be a requirement whenever it gets developed. But you could make it a requirement of the full right of way to be part of that for the town standard, or you could just say, once the road is constructed per the town standard itself. So you could do it in either or option, however you want to proceed, for him to be able to build, or not build, maybe build, I guess, on lot 4, or sell lot 4 to whoever would want to build in the future.
Clear as mud.
The strange deal is we have an accepted offer on that farm.
What?
We got an accepted offer on Larry's farm. But he changed his mind after we signed it. He's been a friend for 70 years. What do you do?
So, Chris, does Larry's land is suitable for eventual development, right?
Some of it.
Some of it.
Okay. So my thought process is that, it'd be a town's best interest is to get the North Star Road blacktop and be done with it. But in the long-term scheme of things, I'd like to see that developed to the north sometime. I was thinking exactly what Tom was thinking about frost out, but for the other 10 months of the year, it's easier to turn a semi around on gravel than it is on blacktop. And then it also makes it look more, if we brought blacktop up to the part of the road, to the turnaround there, and just stopped it and had turnaround gravel, that then it looks like, well, maybe that's temporary in the turnaround, and there's might be development to the north, which I think we'll all be in favor of. Looks could be perceiving in a lot of people's eyes, so having a temporary nature of the turnaround wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And it might be 5 years, it might be 25 years before that happens.
Might be less than that.
Yeah, right. It might be less than that. Is entirely true.
And I would, I would just, if somehow, I think if Larry somehow negated his deal with you, I don't know if there's something sweeter out there that he's working on, or,
No, he just says he wants to farm a while, and all we'll do is we'll extend it until he's ready. I got a partner in this thing, and he'll probably be doing it, because I'll be too old. It's Dave Zelke. He's partnering up, I think. He's on offer also. He bought that land from Larry, that 10 acres.
And he also did not respond to me about getting that in, all in commercial.
He told him, called me the other day, said he'd get down there right away. He's a tough guy to get a hold of.
I know, yeah, I've tried multiple times and ways, and
Oh,
he
he's tough.
hasn't responded either. So as of right now, the comp plan amendment doesn't have either of their properties to be expanded into the commercial area.
You know, we're gonna be seeing Larry in the next couple of days, have him sign that easement. That just doesn't work out for us. We're gonna have him sign that easement and we'll be able to sit and talk to Kyle Broom and hopefully he'll change his mind.
Yes, because
Yeah.
that amendment is gonna be at next month's plan commission, and then there's no amendments for 2 years. So,
You're talking about in that development towards the north, you know. Being that you've got all this land here, why would you want to go to the north? I mean, if it's just a meaning of just doing that road, just acquire what you need for the road,
Yeah.
go further north, because, you know, how much value did you really get out of this development doing? I mean, really,
Oh, okay.
because there's a lot of land here that,
Yeah.
you know, had you maybe done a little differently.
Larry's land is 84 acres. I think 50 of it's developable out of 84. So we bought it right. We bought it right.
Well,
So you know,
that's, I mean, you have this better land up here. Why don't you focus on that?
I probably am now. And the reason why not, because there's neighbors up here. That's why I didn't want to do this right. There's a lot of neighbors. It's got a lot more impact on people than down below. But I'll probably still do it anyway. But there is there's some issues I got to talk to with the state before I do anything. You know,
Well, I think you should focus on, my opinion, you should be focusing on this and not to the north. That's my feeling.
as far as
Developing.
oh, and still Larry's, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. It would be, the thing about Larry's is connected to all those people down there. It's a nice thing, the land is, it's a phase 2. It's connected real nice. There's no impact on anybody. There's no homes down there, nothing. Here, I got a neighbor here, I got neighbors here, I got neighbors there. It's surrounded by neighbors. They might not want to see a commercial development. As far as my land to the south,
Well, I
you know?
don't understand that, because we have that all in orange as commercial.
Yeah,
He's got to deal with them, that's why. There's theory and then there's reality, Troy.
I know.
But my plan now is shifted because of what Larry did. We've shifted plans a little bit.
And who knows what next year will bring with
I
Larry.
don't know. You don't know.
To the best of your recollection, do you think Larry would sell you enough land to make up that little strip along, to develop the road on the north end?
That wouldn't be, what would be, like an acre or something like that? Wouldn't be very much, would it?
Okay, 3524, that's basically, 10 feet, 11 feet by, what's the distance?
What, 500, 600?
260, 460, 600 to 700 feet.
Okay, so that's an acre and a half. Yeah. I'll talk to him. I think he probably.
I mean,
would.
it wouldn't necessarily impact crop growth.
No.
It's only 50.
Would it impact crop growth at all? Would he be farming on?
No, I'm just saying, just that strip.
Yeah,
I mean, 10 feet wide
Yeah.
doesn't,
that's not much.
It's only 5,400 feet. Or 5,400 square feet, not
Oh, it's
54,000.
just an acre, 1 acre.
It's less than that, a lot less.
so it's over an acre.
9 times 600?
Yes,
Yeah, it's 5,400
Yeah.
square feet,
yeah, that's like
Not
a
54,000.
quarter acre.
not 54,000, yeah.
That's a quarter
Oh,
acre.
cool. No, that's not much.
It's about
Yeah,
10.
Yeah.
12.
It's might be a better approach.
yeah,
Solve this issue and get it done with.
yeah. Well, I wish you'd sell me enough to put in some lots right there. Who's that wall? Of course, that's a whole ball. Now you gotta start doing a drainage system. That's a whole ball.
See, there you
Yeah.
go. You're snowballing it. Just get.
Yeah, that really
Just
goes-
get the right of way for
Yes,
now. And
Yeah,
Okay. Are we at a point for a motion?
Well started, but you guys can fill it in. So approve the preliminary plat and noting that we're gonna eliminate the 20-foot drainage easement and that separates lot 2, the 2 sections, and delete the drainage arrows
Correct.
on the east side of lot 2. Okay, and then was there anything that you wanted to add for? Oh, I'll include in there that he doesn't have to blacktop the turnaround on the North Star Road. He's got to blacktop the road before he can do anything on lot 4, but he can stop at the turnaround.
And that the roads aren't part of, we aren't having a 5-foot bike path.
Correct. No 5-foot bike path.
So you're approving resolution 2024-07-24 with those
Modifications
modifications.
to the map.
You want to add Mark's conditions too?
That's what it is.
And
Inviting,
Tree planting above normal town ordinance requirements.
Yes.
for the trees.
Yes, for
And combining those other 2 notes, 15 and 20.
21.
Which are, they're on the plat now.
Yes.
so that tree plant, that had to be all in the office of purchase? That's part of it, office of purchase plan, where would that be?
You can throw it on the buyers or do it yourself. It's gotta get
Okay.
done.
All right, okay.
Well, it probably would end up being, it'll have to be like a deed, it'll be on the plat or a deed restriction, and then it'll come into play for design review probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it has to exceed, not meet, exceed.
And so you'll have to decide what that means when you actually get to the design
how many
review.
more trees
phase,
or how
yes.
big of trees you want to do.
So when you sell a lot. you
Too
need
tiny.
to make that clear that they're
Well,
trees.
it'll be a deed restriction. So when they sell the lot, it should be, the title search should find that. It'll be either right on the plat or it'll be a deed restriction. It'll go right with the lot.
I think that's it for it.
Yeah. Was there anything else, Steve?
no, I was just going to second his motion.
Motion by Mule, second by Anders. Any discussion on the motion to approve Plan Commission Resolution 2024-07-24 with you have the additions that he made?
So both of Mark's conditions, the one about combining the 2 notes and trees above normal ordinance requirements on lots 1 through 4, and then eliminating that 20-foot drainage easement that splits lot 2 and correcting the drainage arrows. And that North Star Road will need, when it's approved to town road standards, it will need to be paved except for the partial cul-de-sac, which can remain just gravel. Is that right?
Yeah, the appropriate base and gravel.
It'll be town road standards, but it doesn't have to be paved.
Yes.
So are you basically then including Nick's July 23rd letter?
He said all those are met. Not in the one that, you got a new one today,
Yeah.
and those are all met.
Okay.
The one that were for discussion, we talked about through 5, how they were. So I don't have anything sticking out on my letter then.
Okay. Everything in your July 23rd letter has been met.
Yep, with the revision plans, they sent 2-day. They said it were sent the revision plans this morning for review. And address my comments.
So not the one you're looking at, but the latest and
Latest and
greatest
greatest.
as of this morning. And then did I say that the road has to be improved at 70 feet, but no bike path?
Yeah. Right. Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, then all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. August 5th to the town board.
So no, this is the preliminary. There still might be some changes. Okay, this turnaround here, just thought of something. Scott Baum was the one that's gonna do the construction work. He called me a couple of days ago and said, we don't know what we're gonna do. We got a whole bunch of fill left over. And they've talked to Houston's all over, trying to get rid of the fill. We need, if we do move this thing to the east, we need fill. Maybe that'd be a good place for all that fill. That might work great. We got a lot of extra fill and we're gonna need fill, maybe if we want to change that. I'm not sure.
Possibly.
So we can look at that and see how much it would need, and it'd be a good time to do it, for the final plat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all these lots sold yet?
The plot for, that's I got it, bills the,
I know.
Brian Keene, he bills the catwalks.
Yeah,
We got an accepted offer, a tentative offer, couldn't do it till we got approval. Lot 3 is going to the vet clinic in town. What's he call us, right there in the corner up here.
Back to basics.
Yes, back to basics. They want that one. There's another lot, yeah, we got at least 2. Of course, until you get it signed, there's nothing sold.
so,
But Ryan Keene just got a huge government contract and he's just waiting to get on that property.
But he's got to wait for the road.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's thinking like, he can wait 2 years.
So
And he's
he's a
ready to-
buyer for lot 2. Or he sold 1 and 3.
yeah, possibly 4.
Okay. All right. See you at town board on the 5th.
So this AT-35, we're talking about that tonight, that new zoning for Meadowland.
That's what we're going to next. So the next item is County Cottage Grove applicant as recommended by Dane County Planning and Development for consistency with the Dane County Farmland Preservation Plan and 19.35 of the Wisconsin statute, rezone of 151.3 acres from FP 35 to AT 35. Rezone 2.39 acres from FP 35 to NR-C and 22.8 acres from FP 1 to NRC and a rezone of 8.51 acres from FP 1 to UTR. See attached for specific parcels, which is on the back side of back of the G letter.
So I did provide this information along with zoning district fact sheets before and after this potential rezone to all the property owners. I only have heard from 3. But maybe you should all know.
Okay,
You saw Majid's explanation of why.
yep. You want to go first while you're there? Do you have questions? Comments?
Well, because of the thing with Larry down there, we would probably be interested in making that our next business one. But, you know, not for at least, we wouldn't start it until at least a year after this year is all completed and sold and all done, the roads and everything in. We'll probably look at that to the south. That's 70 acres we're talking about right now.
Which this wouldn't affect.
Yeah.
This wouldn't
Right.
affect that at all.
No, this would make this being able to develop, right?
Well, it's already planned for commercial.
Yeah.
This is just to clean up the fact
The
that
zoning.
the zoning the current use category that it's in
It's,
is a category that allows farmland preservation, but you can't have farmland preservation credits if you're planned for commercial. So it's fixing the zoning to be in compliance with the future land use plan.
We don't do farmland preservation.
This won't affect
So
that at all.
it's your land from this development to what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Questions? on What's being proposed?
Basically just removing everything from farmland preservation. Just taking it out of farmland.
FP 35, taking it out of that.
All of those beginning, if you look at the rezone list of the going from this to
Yep.
that, all of the beginning categories are farmland preservation qualified. All of the going to categories are not, and they're all in areas that are otherwise disqualified from farmland preservation. So we need to make the zoning agree with that.
Current uses though, if you're grandfathered in, you're not gonna be told that you can't be, i.e. like I have some cows on there.
So the current uses would have to comply with the new zoning category, but and I sent you the fact sheets, and so it should be permitted use, or actually, permitted use on the new fact sheet.
Permitted use, yeah, but any, like, they were counting a fence as a structure. So if I move the fence, I can't do that within 75 feet of that waterway. If I was to move a fence, add a fence, I can't do it. But it's already existing, so then.
Right. Yeah. And that's probably not different than before either. Or current, I guess.
When do they count a fence as a structure?
It is. It is.
Don't know.
It's a hell of a fence.
Is that with or without concrete?
Right, because it's affixed to the ground.
Well, that's all it is. That's all they were doing on this. Sounds pretty simple. We were talking about understanding.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yep, so
Yeah.
like I said, I did send all the landowners, like if they're FP 35 now and it's going to AT 35, I sent them both fact sheets, and they should be looking at those and making sure that however they're currently using it is listed on the new fact sheet.
Yeah.
But by my looking at it, I think they're all fine.
What's UTR?
It's kind of a like catch-all utility.
Utility
Is that
district.
next to that?
Yeah,
Is that
but
next to that?
it's got, it's got current uses that would be in line with what they're currently doing.
Is that that property that's next to that transmission thing?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
So if I read that right, if somebody comes along as an ag-related business, I can sell them some land and they can get a rezone. Isn't that part of the thing, all the different uses you put on that sheet you sent me?
Those already are allowed under AT 35. Yes.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even have to get it rezoned if they were just gonna buy that whole chunk.
Oh, yeah, but if they want a small part, they'd have to get a
Yeah,
CSM or something.
right. And
Yeah.
that's no different no matter what today or in the future with this. That's not any different.
Yeah, but it's stuff like commercial storage that I can't do legally right now,
Right, no.
but I will be able to say AT 35.
No.
I think that was part of it, to sit on that sheet. In
Yeah,
existing
but you
buildings, in
can't,
existing buildings.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
but you can't, you can't divide it and sell it. It would be the whole piece. The whole piece will be zoned AT 35.
Yeah.
So you could turn around and sell that whole piece as AT 35 and they could do whatever is on that list.
Yeah,
But if they wanted something else and a piece of it,
Yeah.
you still have to split it up and rezone each piece.
Right.
but as long as I own it now
Mhm.
and I got storage and I own it,
Yeah,
then I could do that.
yeah, but I
Okay.
think you can now anyway, but yeah.
I thought you'd be commercially zoned for storage, for paid storage.
Oh. I don't know, I'd have to pull this.
What's the the assessor gonna assess the NRC as for the tax rate.
The assessed value should be based on how it's used, so
How
as
it's
long as they
used.
don't change the
So
use
if
of
they haven't
the,
changed the use, it
Well,
won't
the
change.
use will stay the same,
yeah.
It won't change.
being that it's gonna be,
Zoning doesn't make any difference than for the assessor, because it's the use that he's looking at. And that probably isn't
and
changing.
I guess the only thing I'd want is something written that I'd be able to do commercial on it in writing, in an email from you guys or whatever.
What do you mean commercial? What do you mean commercial?
That I'd be able to eventually rezone it to general commercial that I wouldn't have because it's in NRC. I just don't like it.
And it's in our plan to be commercial.
It is.
The current zoning has nothing to do with what you
Doesn't?
can or cannot change it to. So if it's in the plan for future commercial, that's what's important.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it's currently zoned for.
Got that?
Yeah, I just, it's
It's
a different title and the DNR's involved.
But they're gonna keep you away from the waterway,
No matter what.
Oh, yeah, that.
no matter what. We can't touch
There
that.
always. Have a spot for the kayakers.
Dwayne, I just looked at, so FP1, which is what, or you're zoned FP35, right? Let me look at that one.
Yeah.
FP35 does include seasonal storage of recreational equipment and motor vehicles, including those not owned by the landowner in existing accessory buildings. So that doesn't change. That's already
I
there.
didn't know that.
An existing
Oh, I didn't know that.
accessory building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have a farm and you have a barn,
Oh, sure.
you
Or
can,
tobacco shed.
you can
Oh,
rent
yeah.
space to campers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then UTR,
Get asked all the time.
That's for the substation.
well, he's got some UTR too, don't you? You got,
No.
oh, I
There's
thought
a
you-
new one.
but it's, what is it going to?
NRC.
NRC.
Yeah, that's what you were, oh, that's right, NRC, and that's what you were worried about.
Yeah.
Oh, for the cows, for conservation.
I remember that there was a concern in the past about NRC. And Majid addressed that.
I talked to Roger Lane today about it. Said there are a few more
Pasturing.
restrictions, but you're already grandfathered in. So
Well,
if you do not
it-
change anything, you're good.
Pasturing and grazing of livestock is a permitted use on NRC. So that's the main thing you're worried about, right?
And the fence issue and everything, you know, it's because I got 4-strand barbed wire going over that creek, which is fine with FP1. But is NRC gonna say, no, you can't have that? That's what I asked him. He said if it's there, they can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, I don't see
Okay.
anything in here like that.
So they-
I
they do
believe it,
maintain
we'll see what happens.
Well, nothing will ever happen. The only thing will happen is some DNR turkey will come driving down there and say, hey, you can't have that. That's a waterway.
Well, see, DNR
And then
doesn't.
there I am.
Yeah, a navigable waterway.
They don't look at zoning though. DNR, I mean, zoning is a county thing and their state, so they don't really look at zoning. They're just gonna look at the protecting the waterway from the DNR state point of view. And I don't think that matters what the zoning is.
Put the portage sign on here,
Yep.
both sides of the fence.
All right, any other questions, comments? Is there a motion?
Motion this one. I need a motion this one. It's all good comments. Go ahead and second. Well, then I'll second it.
Motion to approve the,
There you go.
oh, he's already doing it?
No, you're good. You're good. Keep going.
Oh, sorry. I didn't have my hearing aid turned up. That's my excuse. I'll stick with it.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to move that we approve Dane County Planning and Development's recommendation for the listed parcels on the letter we received.
9 parcels. 9 parcels.
9 parcels on the letter dated July 11th, 2024. As presented, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Motion by Anders, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bannigan. Any discussion on the motion? Moving everything from FP 35, 151 acres to AT 35, 2.39 acres from FP 31 to NRC, 22.8 acres from FP1 to NRC, and 8.51 acres from FP1 to UTR. What a total. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Is Larry's land part of that?
Pardon?
No. Oh, okay, I thought Larry's was part of 151 acres, that's a lot of land. Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Mule, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, non-debatable. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
So go to the town.